Hello, hello, hello. It's me, 09. And in this video, we'll be reacting to NativLang. Why the French sounds so unlike other Romance languages. Link to the video will be in the description if you want to watch it by yourself. But for now, let's start watching.
You're a relative of Spanish, Italian, and other Romance languages, so why do you sound deceptively different? I mean, why is aqua just o? How are cambiar en casa related to changer and che? What's the story behind the changes that make...
By the way, I don't know anything about French or linguistics. I barely know how to speak English and my native language. But I like to watch videos about this, even though I don't understand anything. So, sorry if I will say something really stupid.
your pronunciation so, well, unique? Whoosh. Pardon, let me just find where this starts. Voilà. So say you wanted to create a language that turns out just like French. Well, follow the following recipe. Precisely. Start preparing your ingredients 2,000 years ago. Take a base of Latin. Combine traces of Gaulish. Because Celtic words will become sources of change, including literally the word change. I must emphasize, do not use fresh Latin for your base. Let it go bad. Ideally, wait 3 centuries until this stickler scribe pens terse corrections, disciplining people to speak good Latin, not bad Latin. Good Latin, not bad Latin. Make sure you keep the bad, the auricla, lancia, and H-less aduk. Imperfections like these set you up for a unique bake. Now, so far, what you've mixed works for any Romance language. We'll spread it out from Portugal to Wallonia. Gradually incorporate sound shifts, not uniformly. Work them in to form a nice continuum where the edges look distinct, but locally it's similar from place to place.
For people that don't know, that's no less than me, sound change is basically when it's a process when you like pronounce some letters differently after some time, like o, instead of o you say u. Or there are rules how this generally works, but it's based on how you pronounce words with your mouth, and over time there is tendency to pronounce words differently, like sounds simplify and stuff, but also some elites can just make pronunciation different to separate themselves from different people, so that can be more different, but yeah, that's generally what it is.
It's guesswork at this stage, to be honest, but be sure to include these changes throughout the age. Soften p-t-k to b-d-g, then v-the-r, then sh. From vita and aqua and securo, make vida and agua and segur. And you're a step away from early French via, ewa, seur. Shorten 2 consonants to 1, less Italian lettera, more letra. Indulge the palate. Jaing kya tia bia until a queresia is a tirisa. Gent becomes gent, and cambiare is canjar, one step closer to change. And squeeze years out of fact and lact, fight and light. These are changes any saja out there may already know. Rework Rome's 5 neat short and long vowels into 7. I, E, A, O, U. And open up E and O even more into Ie and Wo, taking the word for foot from ancient pedem to medieval pie. If sp, st, sk are especially sticky at this point, add vowels until your state is less Romanian stat, more Old French estat, and what's written is no longer a script, but an escript. Okay, go chill your Western Romance dough. I know it's early, but I've invited some guests. Here they are at the door. Hello? Yeah, it's the Franks. They go on to say you've been neighbors for a while. Now they're here to name your country and speak this language you've been working on. Also, they suggest adding some Germanic Frankish words. Just a few hundred. They hand you a manuscript with an oath sworn in 842 by 2 grandsons of Charlemagne. One side swore in Frankish, the other vowed nearly the same lines in what they hastily called Romana. In ink they capture your earlier changes, an H-less softened ayuda, and au is now a lost cosa. Roll with this. Roll out your language dough until words are stressed with an intense accent and final vowels drop off. Amour, tsist. Except a, which you should weaken down to like cosa. Oh, and did I say to ditch H? Well, at this stage, patch in a new H, Germanic h, like in hacha. Even add it to some Romance words like halt. This will create fun quirks when we oust H's again. Take the voice out of final consonants, shifting wov to wef and grand to grant.
Generally, from what I know, H has tendency to leave words. It's a strange thing. I don't know why H specifically. I think people said because it's really like weak sound, so so that's why. It's funny.
Ooh, and manipulate mid-vowels to A and Ye and O and We. Make L after a vowel more of an ew. Sauce. Before you incorporate any more changes, you want to cut out one section from this dough. Split it up at the word for yes. In the south of France, it's ok. Up north, it's a mesh of oil. Well, to make what we today call French, just work with those northern oil varieties. 1,000 years into this recipe, it's time to dock and bake Old French throughout the High Middle Ages. Peek into the oven to see kaz chawing, turning kanja into chanja, a cat into a chat, and castles into chasteus. Except near the northern coast, so England will borrow Norman candles, not chandles, but a double take of both canal and channel. Then check if multiple a's are shifting to e, awe to ewe, and caval to cheval. It's okay if they go as far as ye, from cap to chef or chief, or a canine chien. The vowel u in seur should now sound like seur, and o in oil should turn into oil, and eventually yes, oui. At the end of the Old French period, watch and wait. You might think the sound of French would come from a single dialect in Paris. Instead, observe as it arises from social changes and urbanization bringing together people who speak many varieties of oil. The oven timer goes off. It's 1300, and your beautifully baked case shines with some of the prestige that Latin once had. Let's prepare to layer on Middle French. Melt the may that was me to moi and then mouais, and the I in light to let. The eau of old Poeter Pout is from here on Vowels before n and will flow through the nose now. Bun becomes bon. Heat your slurry until a new set of long vowels seeps out. Where s's break down, gota is merely longer than gota. And where two vowels ooze into one, in Old French you were sûr, well, now you're sûr. Dissolve complex consonants, no longer tseriza, but cerise. No longer quant and qui, but quant and qui. And sacha and saja cooked down to sasha and saja. I was going to say pull Middle French off the heat at this point, but you know what? Keep this caramel going. Melt away more sounds at the end of words throughout the French Renaissance. Chat, trouver, even in sur. You know you're doing it right when many lu sound identical to one lone lu. And turn those nasal vowels into a critical distinction from here on out.
Sorry, I had to do a thing. Let's resume.
Is a preposition, but later en means year. As this cools, it should be teeming with unpredictable letters. In other words, French spelling. There you are. No longer do you read the S, the P, or the T in écrit. Pour these changes into your shell and watch spelling reformers grapple with their stickiness, concocting accent marks and new letters to deal with them. Now for a thick ganache of kingdom and colonization that will spread your French so far, even farther. Everywhere, temper O and yo to O and O. But when Quebec gets cold, don't cover up their archaic fret. And keep moi and toi, while Paris spends a half-century before the Revolution shifting to toi and moi. Guadeloupe Creole will retain an old h in hanga and hale. And Amazonian Creole will inventively mash 3 1/3 words together into one zabapin for breadfruit. And from Tahiti to Louisiane to the continent with more French speakers than any other, l'Afrique. As this era cools and sets, r will sometimes remain a trill. Remain because after periods of Révolution and Napoleon, a new art is stirred into Paris. For many, r will replace r, and while it does, you pour on a layer thick with your most Epicurean changes yet. Coat those re-emerged long vowels until by the mid-1900s only a slight flavor remains. Bat or pot. Quebec, bet or bête. In Paris you should even hear bet merge into bet, and well, but is but. Although you attempted to melt all final consonants, they've been viscous enough to stick to vowels. Indulge this, tacking grand to grand ami, and les to les amis. Remember those Frankish H's? Pronounce them no more, but make sure they don't stick. What a fun rule for students to have to remember. H that isn't and wasn't is sticky. H that isn't but was, isn't. Hence les autres, but les autres. Round weak to mange, petit, or even smooth it away as you pour. Mange, petit. Fill to the brim and tap until your French sounds not like words, but rhythm groups. Syllables freely cutting across words. Dropped or added to refine the rhythm until you accent the final syllable. Oh, look, you've made quite a mess. Don't clean up yet. Garnish with the latest changes. Shift un to un, and then even un to un, and push all in d'accord toward d'accord, and end rhythm groups with a heavy, breathy vowel. T'as entendu? Oui. You've now prepared a contemporary French, ready to serve. And you have a recipe to hand down and adjust for the next 1,000 years of French's shifting sounds. If you're eager to learn more and get into the details, my sources doc is made for you. The names you see now are some of my patrons, for whom I posted thoughts and art during the months it took me to put this together. Thank you for your patient and positive support. Merci tout le monde. Stick around and subscribe for language.
Yeah, that was video. French really sounds beautiful. I guess English sounds more cool, but French sounds beautiful. But when in this video, like, I'm more convinced that French is messy language in terms of structure. Like, maybe that's why it's beautiful, because it's more organic than some other language. I don't know. I don't know that many language to tell. But yeah, that was video. So yeah. Goodbye, and remember, when you shine, darkness fades. Bye.